What's up, everybody? It's your boy Johnny back with another video. And today, as promised, I'm going to be doing my unboxing and in-depth review of the new box set by RCA Sony Legacy with Warner Brother Studios. Elvis on Tour 6 CD 1 Blu-ray featuring the film. This is really the 50th anniversary of Elvis on Tour. First time compiled together. So today, we are going to be doing my unboxing and in-depth review. First, I'm going to show you everything cover to cover and let you know what I thought. And then I'm going to do the big thing, the music, talk about that. And I'll give you my final thoughts, and maybe you'll learn some other information along the way you didn't know. So let's get started. So let's just get started. I'm going to start showing the box and everything first, everything cover to cover. So here we go. So here's the front. Here's the back. Okay. So this came out January 27th, this past Friday. It just passed. I got mine from Amazon. It seems like a lot of people got theirs from Amazon. Mine came in good shape, not damaged. I got it for $81, $82, a hell of a lot cheaper than getting it on shopelvis.com. So I just prefer, I would just recommend you getting it on Amazon. So it's still available and it's regularly available right now, okay? All right, so let's get started. First, we're going to start with this thing that holds the CDs. This holds the first 4 discs that features the concerts. So here we go. All right, you got this. Boom. So I'm not going to do a lot of talking right now, which is good for you guys. Okay. I'm going to show you one of the discs. I'm just going to show you one because they all look the same. They look exactly the same, only with a different number on them. So this is how they look. There you go. All right. That's that. And then, now we have this one that holds the last 2 discs that contains the rehearsals and the Blu-ray copy of the film. Elvis on Tour. So let's show you this first. Yeah. All right. Then in here, this is where the Blu-ray is of the feature film. This little sleeve. And here is the disc of the Blu-ray. And this looks exactly like the disc that was released when this was released for the first time on Blu-ray back in, I want to say 2010. It was released on Blu-ray and DVD for the first time. So there you go. Boom. All right. Now, let's take a look at the book. All right, so we're gonna look at this now. Boom. All right, let's get started. Hope everybody's doing all right today. Hope everybody's been well. Hope everybody's New Year's going good so far. We're almost, first month's come to an end. I'm telling you, man, time goes by quick, but crazy. Here we go. think we're almost done. Yeah, and here's all the track listings of all the discs. All right. There we go. Yep, that's it. Okay, cool. All right, so now since I'm done unboxing it, let me just tell you what I thought about everything as far as the box and everything goes. All right, so as usual, the imagery, as far as the box goes, pretty cool. Awesome, looks really retro. Looks just like the movie poster. All the stuff, the way everything looked, really goes together nicely. I really do like it. Mine came in undamaged, so I was really happy about that. Now, recent years, they've been doing this with these box sets, which I don't like either. Which is a real pain in the ass. Or these things that hold the disc, these cardboard things. They really seem to really scratch up all the discs. Mine aren't scratched up. The one that scratched up the most, and I haven't even played this yet, because I really don't have to, because I listened to this album digitally. But my disc 4 is so scratched up. This is the only complaint I have about it. Maybe you can see it. Right there. See it? On the top. They really need to stop doing this. I just wish they would go back to like regular plastic trays on these. So, I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper for them to make it this way. But other than that, I mean, all the images are really cool. All images from this tour he did in April. Pretty awesome. Basic stuff. And the whole Blu-ray with the film, pretty cool. So there you go, how it looks. It just looks like the smaller version of the cover, and pretty awesome. Simple little thing. So I mean, I can't really complain about that. All right, so now let's talk about the booklet. So the booklet I did read cover to cover. I found a few interesting things in here. So in the beginning of the book, it has a little thing from Jerry Schilling talking about when he met Elvis and all that stuff. Now, the coolest thing I found in the book about this first part that you read is I didn't know that Jerry Schilling was really involved in films like that. Like, this is when he really started getting interested in doing stuff in the film industry. So I thought that was pretty cool to find out stuff about Jerry Schilling about that. The imagery is cool. Has movie posters, lobby cards, different pictures from different dates of the tour. Like right here is in Macon, Georgia. Has stuff from Albuquerque, and also the shows that were recorded. And then here we have this section called the Director's Overview. So a little thing from the director, talking about the film and all that. So that's pretty cool. And then a little and then something else you can read from, I want to say his name is Warren Zanes. A little thing he did about talking about Elvis called Elvis Road Freedom. So that was pretty cool. Just little things you learn. And I think it's really cool how I didn't know that, which doesn't really surprise me, Colonel Tom Parker didn't want Elvis to do that little monologue he did for the film, which I don't know what the big deal is. Maybe because he didn't get paid for that extra, who knows. And then it has a little Q&A from that monologue that Elvis did. Has little just excerpts from it, not the whole thing. You can listen to the whole thing on YouTube. It's about like a 45-minute, 1 hour thing of Elvis talking about his career and all this stuff. And then you got, all the track listings and credits back here. But something that is so disheartening to everybody, and I totally get it because it just doesn't make any freaking sense, is, I think we all know by now, if you guys have been watching other reviews on YouTube, where the musicians section is, the credits for the musicians, for whatever freaking reason, Ronnie Tutt is not mentioned, which is ridiculous because you literally have everybody but him. I guess it was a mistake. I don't know how you make a mistake like that. It really does blow my mind and other people's mind. But I learned on here, I didn't know that Jerry Schiff wasn't at the rehearsals. The rehearsals that were recorded, for the film, neither. Some guy named Emery Gordy was present as a bass player for the rehearsals on March 30th and 31st. So I didn't know that. And Jerry Schiff is only featured in those concerts. So that was one interesting thing I found, pretty fascinating, I guess. But yeah. So as far as the cover and everything goes, it's cool. You know what you expect. They've been doing the box sets now in this size. It's like a size of an FTD, pretty much. But anyways, so that's that about the cover. All right, so now we're to the big part. Now we're going to talk about disc by disc, all the stuff that's contained in here of the music, and we'll also still talk about the feature film that's on Blu-ray that came with this box set. All right, so I'm going to keep this on hand real quick to go through each disc. So the main focal point about this Elvis on tour box set, there's a lot of previous unreleased stuff that hasn't been released officially. So the first 4 discs contains concerts, 4 separate concerts. 3 out of those 4 are previous unreleased. And then disc 5 and 6, they're rehearsals from March 30th and 31st of 1972. So, and there's a few tracks that are previously unreleased there as well. So it's cool. And then disc 6 is just the Blu-ray copy of the feature film here, Elvis on Tour. All right, so now we're going to start with disc 1 first, and we're going to go through each disc. All right, so here we go. This is going to be a little bit of a long one. I'm going to try to be as brief as I possibly can because I know I can talk a lot. All right, so let's talk about disc 1 first. Now, this whole show has been previous unreleased officially. Now, before I get started, obviously all these concerts have been out there for decades on different bootlegs. So just keep that in mind. But this is just the first time they've been officially released from RCA. All right, so here we go. All right, so disc 1 is the Coliseum, Hampton Road, Virginia, April 9th, 1972. I think that's the show where Elvis wore the baby blue jumpsuit. So this is the first show that was recorded from RCA. And what can I say about this show? It's unreleased. I never really heard it, and it was really good. I gotta say, the one track I really was excited about this whole box set was in this show. And it doesn't even feature Elvis on it, but I just really, really like it. I'm glad it's officially out there now. Track 22 on disc 1, Sweet, Sweet Spirit, performed by the Stamps, J.D. Sumner and the Stamps. So it's just really, really cool to hear, remastered and all that stuff, and present here on the box set officially. It's just a beautiful song. The harmonizing, the vocal arrangement, you can hear a pin drop in that place when those people, when J.D. Sumner and the Stamps sung it. So that's just really cool that it's available here. Now, one notable thing to talk about this show, and is stated here at the end of the track listing on disc 1, part of Elvis' vocal on I Got a Woman are not on the original tapes. All right, so I Got a Woman with Amen is track 3, and it clocks in just under 3 minutes at 2 minutes and 59 seconds. All right, so about the first minute of I Got a Woman, it's like Elvis's vocal. If you listen to it with headphones, you can hear his vocal, but it's like it's dropped. It's not coming out of his microphone. Maybe they could have had some technical difficulties doing the show. I mean, it happens. But you can still hear his voice, just very faint in the background. And I think the only reason why you can hear it faint in the background, I'm just guessing, I don't know, is possibly his vocal is bleeding through another microphone, which to me most likely would be Charlie Hodges' microphone, maybe, possibly, because I assume he used it closest to Elvis. I highly doubt any bleeding's coming from the Sweet Inspirations or one of the Stamps microphones. And then, but about a minute in to the song, Elvis's vocal comes back up. So maybe they figured out the problem and it came back up. I'm just guessing. I really don't know. It's just odd. But the rest of the show, there's no other complications or problems with the audio. So that's disc 1. And it was a great, what's really to say? All these shows are basically the same. The only thing that's different is the, the chatter in between, Elvis messing with the crowd and being funny, stuff that Elvis does. So, but anyways, so let's move on to the next show. So the next show was from the following night, and it's the Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia, April 10th, 1972. And I think this is the show where Elvis is wearing that red jumpsuit that I think they called it the Burning Love jumpsuit. Fans call it. This was a great show too. I can't Can't really point anything out special about it because, I listened to this a while ago digitally, but again, a lot of these shows sound similar. But one thing I do want to spotlight about these shows in general, it really applies for all these shows. I like the versions of Polk Silent Alley in these shows because it spotlights Jerry Schiff's bass playing. I liked on these versions how Jerry Schiff had, a bass solo, like like he's just going crazy on the bass. So I thought that was really cool. Anyways, all right, so now we're on disc 3. Let's move on. This is the Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, April 14th. This is when he's wearing that purple jumpsuit with the owl belt buckle. I really do like this jumpsuit because you never saw Elvis wear purple. This is like, I want to say when you think about it, the really first and only time you see Elvis wear purple. I think it was purple. So, and he says, during... funny how time slipped away. He's like, if you guys can't see back here, this is an owl. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, so this show, and I've actually been to Greensboro Coliseum myself for other events, and I saw where Elvis performed. Because this place is still around. I don't know about these other places, but I definitely been to Greensboro. But what can I say? It was a good show. I liked the stuff from this show. Good stuff. All right. Now the last disc 4. This is the last concert that was recorded by RCA, but this concert has been previously released, and the release that this complete concert was released on was from 2003, Elvis Close Up. It was one of those 4-disc box sets that RCA BMG used to do. It had like grab bag tracks, in a box set, but the final disc of that box set was this whole concert at the Convention Center in San Antonio, Texas, April 18th. So I have heard this show before, and it was a good show. I always enjoy the show. But, so I'm going to come back to the show in a minute to talk about, when I talk about the mastering and everything. So anyways, so let's stop there for a second and we'll talk about these live shows, about what they sounded like and everything. Okay. So, this whole box set was mixed by Matt Ross Spang and mastered by Vic Gancini in New York. So these two guys are already known for doing great work on Elvis releases. Matt Ross Spang has been doing, I would say, releases, I don't know, I guess for the past almost 5 years now, I would say at least. He does great work. He does great mixing. And Vic Gancini has been doing Elvis stuff for years. So with them two together, it's a very good combination. So what did I think about these shows, hearing them? I mean, they sounded great. Other reviews I've been hearing otherwise. Some people say it didn't sound that great. But I mean, I know all these shows have been released on bootleg for years. But I never heard those because I'm not a bootleg guy. So this is the first time me really hearing them. And I thought they sounded great. The sound was great, top notch. Everything balanced good. Everything sounds vibrant and rich, like they always do with Matt Ross Spang's mixing. So I really enjoyed it all. The only disappointment is about the I Got a Woman and Amen track. And I mean, I really don't have anything to knock about that. I like the balance of bass that Matt Ross Spang uses too. I think he does a very good job, and that was shown in other box sets he's done. But yeah, and these concerts were great. And another thing to note is, I want to say on disc 3, when Elvis is playing Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina, wearing the purple jumpsuit, I want to say it's the first time that Elvis did Burning Love. I want to say this is the first time. I could be wrong, or it's one of the first times that Elvis did Burning Love. So that's really cool that it's present on an official recording from RCA. So yeah. And yeah, these shows sound great. So don't really have any complaints there. Really enjoyed these shows. All right. So, and actually disc 4, the San Antonio show, like I said, it was previously released on another release. And I actually still had that show on my computer. So I did compare the two. And I gotta say, this new version on this box set, the new mastering of it, sounds better than an old box set from 2003, which I imagine it would, because that box set was released 20 years ago. So I'm sure technology has improved from then, and everyone has different ways of mixing and mastering. And I think Matt Ross Spang's version of this master mixing is great. It's good stuff. So can't complain. When I listened to the other one, it was a lot lower in the mix, and a lot more hollow. So this is really great. All right. Okay, so now let's move on to disc 5 and 6. I'm pretty much going to review these together because I think I have some interesting information you guys may find a little interesting about 5 and 6. All right, so disc 5 and 6 are rehearsals at RCA's studio in Hollywood, California for March 30th and 31st. Now, on these discs, there's a lot of previous unreleased tracks as well here. Actually, matter of fact, I think for the whole box set, it's about 145 unreleased tracks, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Something in that area. But, and there's like the first disc contains, on disc 5, it contains 23 tracks. And out of those 23, I want to say that about 15 are previous unreleased. So that's really cool. And on disc 6 is the rehearsals from March 31st, this whole disc. And out of the 25 tracks, I want to say only about 3 are unreleased. But the interesting thing about this release that I'm going to explain to you is across disc 5 and 6, there is some previous release tracks available on here, but it's really cool. First of all, it's upgraded audio. Second, across disc 5 and 6, it contains the full FTD of Elvis on Tour, the rehearsals. So I find that really cool. First of all, it's cool for me because I never owned that FTD, and now I own it here in its entirety and remastered. And that release came out in 2004 from FTD, so it's an older FTD. And then, so another FTD is contained on here, about 6 tracks from it is from the 63 Sunset release. That's from 2001, and that's a very early FTD. I want to say it's one of the first 10 or 15 FTDs that came out. And it contains 6 tracks off of there. Now, the 63 Sunset release, there was a set of songs that were actual outtakes from Elvis recording in the studio, recording Burning Love, I think, in separate ways and all that. Those tracks are actually contained also on, if you have the standing room only, those tracks are contained on here. And then it has the tracks that are present on the Elvis on Tour box set, 6 tracks. And then a remainder of that FTD release, there's tracks from 1975. It's really outtakes from Elvis's Today album, but they appear on the Today FTD from, I want to say just came out in 2005. So they're contained on here. So really, I own that whole FTD too, of the 63 Sunset. And, a little fun fact, stuff from today, this is really the last time that Elvis recorded in the actual studio. The next time he will record in the studio is the Jungle Room sessions. Okay. So that's really interesting about it. And another interesting thing about it, so let's talk about, for example, Burning Love on disc 5. 1, 2, 3. The first 3 tracks are different versions of Burning Love. Now, I remember on track 3, I hear them say, take 2, Burning Love. So I was confused. I'm like, and these are previous unreleased. But you also have take 2 on the standing room only. Well, I guess this is what they did. So really, Elvis recorded the studio version of Burning Love March 27th. These rehearsals happened March 30th. I always thought this was actually Elvis in the actual studio recording the actual studio versions. I guess they did this for film purposes, just to show how Elvis does in the studio. So these aren't the actual studio outtakes, if that makes sense. This is just rehearsals. That's why it's called rehearsals. And these are contained on here is the actual alternate, or the different takes of Burning Love. So I never put 2 and 2 together before. I hope I'm making sense with that. So I just found that very interesting. So these are just rehearsal takes. These are actual studio takes. I just always thought that the stuff that contained the stuff in the movie basically was him actually recording the song Burning Love. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I'm not being confusing about that. But yeah, so that's all I really like to say about that. But yeah, disc 5 and 6, they were very interesting tracks of Elvis rehearsing with the band in Hollywood, California at RCA Studios. Pretty awesome. And then other stuff that's contained on here was previously released on other releases. I, John, Bosom of Abraham, You Better Run, Lead Me, Guide Me, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, Nearer, My God, to Thee. Those are all, they've been releasing those for years. They were first released on the Amazing Grace release back in the 90s. So, yeah. But all these tracks are awesome. Can't really, there's some interesting stuff. It's cool to hear Elvis interact with the band and Elvis just being Elvis, being funny. Just hearing him being a human being is cool. So, yeah. Whew. All right. So now let's talk about the last disc, which is actually the disc of the film, Elvis on Tour on Blu-ray. Like I mentioned earlier in my video, this is the same exact disc that was released in 2010. Looks the same exact way, and on the disc itself contains the same content. Looks like the same images on the menu and everything. And still, I know another thing a lot of people are really pissed off about, it still contains Don't Be Cruel, except for it doesn't have the original Johnny Be Good intro during the beginning of the movie. People are really mad about that, but I have watched it on HBO Max, and the original version with Johnny Be Good playing in the beginning, it's on that version of the film. Why isn't it on? Why couldn't it be on the Blu-ray? I don't know. Maybe at the time when they did do it, there was a rights issue with the song, because I know at that time Chuck Berry was still alive, but I really don't know. Don't know at all. So it's really just, all that's contained on this disc is just a movie, nothing else. So there's nothing really to report. So if you have this already on the individual Blu-ray, there's no different, basically. So, yep. All right. Well, you know what? That's it for reviewing the box set. So now I'm at my verdict about this box set and what I thought. All right. So, since I'm at my verdict, what did I think of this? Do I think it was worth it? Do I recommend getting it or not? For me, it was worth it because there's a lot of previous unreleased stuff in here I don't own. Even stuff that was released before, I didn't own that stuff, like the Elvis on Tour rehearsals. I have it all here. The only thing I really rebought was the San Antonio show and the Blu-ray, which came with this. But other than that, man, I thought this was great. The sound's great of all these shows and all the material. And the box and everything is great. Now, before I did this, I saw other people's reviews, and I've been hearing mixed things. A lot of people aren't happy with this. And I get everybody's reasoning. But, for example, people are saying, look, it's been 50 years. Why can't they just release everything? Well, people, and you also hear the same thing usually. Another fair comparison is for Elvis, that's the way it is. People, I mean, I'm not trying to talk down to anybody when I say this, but what do you guys expect? They're going to milk out the legacy as much as they can. This is really the first time they ever touched on Elvis on Tour on a big scale. Do I think they're done with it? No, there's definitely still stuff out there. Because I remember a few years back when they had that bootleg box set. There was a bootleg box set, and that was a great box set. And then we got this. I think it should have been very similar to that one, but they even had the Elvis monologues that Elvis recorded. But anyways, moving on. They're going to milk it out. Apparently, FTD is going to be coming out with a future release. They're saying they're going to repackage this with a book. I think that would be stupid. I personally think they're going to put that on the back burner. I think we're going to have to wait a few years for that. That's just my opinion. And I think that it's going to contain maybe the complete rehearsals. I don't know. But people, I get everybody's complaints about it. I want this stuff too. I mean, I do feel bad for the older fans and not getting what they want, but they're going to milk it out. For example, let's talk about, they've been doing this since Elvis was alive, milking out unreleased stuff, starting with A Legendary Performer. For example, let's use Such a Night that was featured in A Legendary Performer Volume 1 from Elvis's back. So they released that. Okay. In the 80s, they released a little bit more stuff and put that together with the older stuff they released. And then in the 90s, same thing. 20 to 2000, same thing. 2010, you know, through the RCA BMG, the FTD releases, the complete sessions. Think of all times they repackaged that we rebought and rebought. We're going to rebuy it because it has new stuff, especially if you're a diehard fan. And that's what they're going to do with this. It's just a harsh reality. And I get it. People want the film footage as well. That's not up to the estate. It's not up to RCA, Sony Legacy. That's up to the film studio. And the chances of that happening, which Warner Brother owns the rights to that movie. Okay? So that's their choice. Estate has nothing to do with that. I think we were even lucky to get it with this box set. There's all the rights issues now and the right laws that are out there. But anyways, that's all I want to say. This is a very long video. I appreciate y'all watching. I hope you guys learned something from this box set with the information I gave you. Hope it help you decide if you want to get this or not. I just want to thank you all for watching. And also, in the link in the description of this video, check out my links to my eBay store. If you're interested in anything on there, you can contact me personally. My email is in the description, and maybe we can make a deal, or if you want to make an offer on something for a lower price, I'm down for that too. But so yes, check out the links in the description of this video. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video. So see you later and goodbye. Take care.